We keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net. And together, we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule. 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning and God bless. Happy Friday! Woo-woo. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors, for sure, and the elders, and let's go. Okay, so it's Friday. That means hour 3. Well, hour 3 can be whatever on a Friday. Today it's wide open phones. It's the suggestion box and the complaint center are open. Express yourself. Hour 2 is always on a Friday, Freedman Friday, where we look at reparations, do a deep dive. All comers welcome, all sides of the so-called aisle. And I'm looking forward to talking with Dr. Gabriel Selassie, who's one of the scholars behind the Los Angeles City Reparations Report.
Oh.
Hour 1, look who's here. She's back. My every other Friday co-host partner in politics. She's a labor organizer, and also she's a contributor to KBLA. Sherri Bell. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, everybody out there listening. The chat family, and hope everybody is doing good this Friday morning.
I feel like you're flexing a little bit with that LA native shirt.
You know what? Look. You know what? People come to LA. I've been here all my life. It's true, right?
Born and raised in
South Central. The infamous, famous, however you want to call it. But there's people who come here from out of state, up north, down in the empire. They'll come here and they'll show me things I don't even know about LA. So you don't have to be from LA to just know LA, have a good time in LA, know how to navigate it. I guess that's why so many people gravitate to it, because they feel at home here. So no shade.
It's just a moment we're in where suddenly everyone's, down with Kendrick.
Oh yeah,
like suddenly
yeah.
Everyone's from LA,
Mm-hmm.
and so it feels like don't get it twisted. Some of us are actual Angelinos.
Oh well, there is a few of us left here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those out of towners. You know that I came from the Bay,
right,
a long time ago, when Tupac and Eazy-E were both living. I came here, and it took me a long time to get used to it, but I love LA.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've been adopted by LA.
Absolutely.
Still having love for the Bay.
Yep.
But I can see why people are a little salty with everyone kind of jumping on the bandwagon. I think it's salty, but also kind of happy about it at the same time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Are you? I'm obsessed with that. That
Kendrick,
album,
that
yeah.
surprise album.
Yeah.
I'm like, he pulled a Beyonce on us. I'm like, just when you thought They Not Like Us, it was like the song of the summer. Here he come with songs for the winter too. I mean, what a nice holiday present, for the rap, music, content, and just pride in where you're from, West Coast, just a fan of hip hop in general, really dropped some good stuff to just cheer us up in these uncertain times that we're in right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think cheer up is good. One of the things I do want to talk about, we are going to keep track of, politics, of course, we always do. But I think we also have other things going on, even politically, besides Washington, and health-wise and music-wise. And we have, I think it's important when things seem very problematic. To also remember that there's a lot going on. It's not just all Trump all the time.
Right, exactly. Like we have a lot of artists out here, a lot of creatives doing dance and music and, acting. There's a lot of entertainment going on. People are inspired by what surrounds them. And so we can look forward to also some very creative, thoughtful, products of that, so it's not all negative. We are inspired by our environment, so hopefully we'll see more inspirational and thoughtful perspectives in all aspects of things.
Yeah, and political organizing and political victories that are not related to Washington.
Right.
I think it's important to remember, like, what the organizing that you do locally and the way we support candidates, our wins here. I know you were, as I was, a big supporter of Heather Hutt. She's getting sworn in next week.
Yeah.
We have, some big victories around police accountability that have come down. We defeated Kevin De Leon here in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And every market, I'm sure every city, large or small, has those. We're just not paying attention to them.
Yep. Like, yeah, that's absolutely right. Like, you can't focus all on the negative. And, there's a lot of other little laws that pass too. Like, for instance, now in Los Angeles has the authority to take discrimination claims based on protected classes like race, gender, disability. You don't always have to go to the state now. You could go to your local civil rights office in Los Angeles. And now all local cities in California have the authority to enact local civil rights enforcement if they choose to, as opposed to before being preempted by the state law. So now we can expand those protections for people in these times where you're probably going to need it, because certain people do feel emboldened, and we have to be braced for that. And we have to be braced for that by being organized and informed. But yeah, so those are some other little victories as well.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big victory. I mean, it's like people were talking about this, Donald Trump won't tax overtime. I'm like, yeah, but he's not going to give you overtime either. Like he's doing Trump judge has already repealed Biden's overtime expansion to raise the salary level where overtime would apply to you. And they won't raise the minimum wage. Yeah, you might not get taxed on overtime, but guess what? You're not going to get overtime.
The overtime.
So I think,
man,
I just use that as an example in the labor space, like you're talking about, that we, those kinds of protections, we are going to need them.
Yeah. And, I ain't gonna lie, it can get very exhausting trying to convince people, to vote for policies and individuals that are going to represent their best interests. It's very exhausting, However, it's very much needed. I know that there's young folks out there. My daughter, for instance, has a coworker. He's a 17-year-old Latino male, and he said he would have voted for Trump if he could because of reproductive rights. Like, well, people shouldn't, get pregnant if they didn't want a baby, or Trump was better for the economy. And it's like, okay, when you really dissect that, that's not factual, but you get tired of explaining it. And to be honest, Dominique, I feel like I'm watching a reality show right now. Like, it's called For the Love of Trump. Or Flavor of Trump, right? It's like all these people been campaigning and vying to get a rose, but instead of a rose, they're getting a job. So it's like
Instead of a rose, they're getting a turd is what they're actually going to get.
So we're just watching it.
Sorry, guys, to be gross first thing in the morning. But I think, it is a bit of a reality show, but it's very real at the same time.
Very real.
Very real. So, look, focusing on what we want, I think to your point, those local labor protections in the city of LA, we do have a civil rights department, and it sounds like now other cities could follow suit.
Yes, especially because it's much needed, like in housing, and employment, and other areas where your protected class has been a factor in you being discriminated against. Whether because the Fair Employment and Housing Act was an act by the state, but now it could be impacted enforced locally. And so when you think about labor space or housing space, when you be prior to having this local enforcement that could be enacted, if it's voted on, the Civil Rights Department, formerly known as DFEH, if they didn't resolve your case within a year, you get a right to sue later. Basically, you're on your own, right? And so now you have more options to actually get some resolve. So it's good, and I also think it could be actually a deterrent for some bad actors, and because we're definitely gonna, like we mentioned, we're gonna need those additional protections.
Yeah, I hate to be, a bummer, but there was a 7.0 magnitude earthquake yesterday, and it wasn't in LA, obviously, but it was in California. Yeah, Northern California. We've had so many shakers lately.
Yeah, I mean, we're known for earthquakes. Yeah. That's what people know us for. And I got to check on my folks up north to see how they was affected by that. But yeah, it's definitely scary because, I mean, we do have that app on our phone to tell you if an earthquake, but you never really know when it's going to happen. And so, geez, Louise, I don't know.
Well, look, and they had the thing that, the phone won't tell you is that tsunami warning, or maybe it will, but what do you do? I mean, if there's a tsunami, what do you actually do?
Man,
get to high ground.
To high ground.
So I think, well, what does it mean? Only reason I'm bringing it up is that we got to pay attention. I mean, I feel like we've had so much shaking, and because we're known for earthquakes, it's easy to just ignore it.
Right,
and
exactly.
Just be like, oh, that again.
Yeah, right. Are you just like for me, I just wait to see how long it's gonna go, because if it goes long, it definitely is a problem. But if it's like even a strong jolt, if it's just like a quick jolt, I'll just go on about my business. But yeah, it's definitely something to remind us to get them earthquake kits popping, because you never know.
Yeah, we gotta and have an out-of-state contact. That's the thing a lot of people don't remember. Now, they used to say put all your insurance and stuff in a nice plastic bag, like copies of everything.
Yeah.
Because if you need FEMA to help you and you don't have any ID or your insurance policies or any information about your mortgage or anything, it's going to take you a long time to get help. But now I guess you could just take pictures of everything and keep it in your phone.
That would be wise before you get out of there, before it get condemned.
Because we know we're going to bring our phones. I mean, most everyone's going to grab their phone if they don't grab anything else. So take pictures of everything, and that out-of-town contact in case the cell system goes down, electricity is down, or whatever. You can always, find a working phone, a pay phone, an email, and reach out to someone out of town, and everyone knows to reach out to that person. So at least you can find out where your loved ones are and make sure they're okay.
Yeah, like marked as safe. You can do it like...
Yeah. I'm not really sure how you prepare for a tsunami, though.
A tsunami, man. I don't know. I mean, will people be impacted like in the inner cities? Like,
well, if by inner city you mean Venice...
I mean, you got...
Venice got some inner city.
Not to say that people who live near the water are not worthy of being protected.
Being
I'm just
saved,
saying.
right.
Yeah,
I guess there was a tsunami in 2006. I don't know how far inland they would go. But yeah, we could suddenly have beachside property.
Oh,
Those
wow.
of us who live in South LA. Sorry to be so.
Yeah, I seen a little something
Dark.
like that on the news this year, like in Redondo Beach, and the water came all the way up from the ocean past the sand near the parking lot and like knocked people off their feet. So,
Wow.
yeah, and that was out here in Oakley. So, geez, yeah.
Yeah, well, according to LA Times, it would wash away coastal towns,
Whoa.
destroy the 101. So it's mostly the
Oh.
Pacific coast. Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
But well, cheery thoughts for your morning. But I just think that with all the quakes we've had in the past 6 months, we really ought to be paying attention.
To be honest, I think that our infrastructure is not equipped for any of that. Like, it's not equipped. We flood during like a few days of rain.
Yeah, that's true.
The maybe a lot of some of the newer buildings that are retrofitted for earthquakes might be okay, but I think like locally as a whole, we are not prepared for no natural disaster.
No, not really.
And that's just the reality of things. So you just got to try to look out for yourself the best you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, actually, they do have some tips on how to prepare for a tsunami. Maybe we'll talk about that when we come forward.
Goodness gracious.
Sherri Bell, Dominique DiPrima, KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
When you choose Gillette, you choose the best a man can get. Close and smooth shaves, award-winning beard care, and a gentle trim below the belt. And this November and December, every Gillette purchase supports Movember in the fight against prostate cancer. Choose Gillette and make a difference. Shave down and stand strong with the 1 in 8 men who will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Visit pggoodeveryday.com/Movember for details. Exclusions apply.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
So Sherri is doing a better job than I am of tracking certain stories. One story I have not paid attention to really, because news is infinite fast.
Yes.
And you're not going to read everything.
Right.
And I tend to read most of my news rather than watching it, although I will watch CNN, Fox, MSNBC.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do watch Fox, but I watch it in small doses.
Yes, exactly.
But none of them are really covering this Hawaii woman,
Woof.
this Hana Kobayashi.
Mm-hmm.
She walked through the U.S.-Mexico border in California, supposedly. I'm not tracking it. What is grabbing your attention about the story?
It gets interesting each and every week. There's a new detail that comes out about this case. So basically it started where she was supposed to missed her connecting flight here at LAX to go to New York to visit her family, and she never showed up. And so her family was like, OMG, where is she? She's missing. She sent us strange text messages. We don't know where she is. So they flew down from Maui to Los Angeles, and they held a press conference in downtown LA. If you're in downtown LA, like near Pershing Square and other areas, near skidrowcrypto.com, you'll see her posters all around, like missing person.
Yeah, I have seen those.
Right. So it is very much a local story. And since then, there's been all these crazy details that came out about it, right? Number one, a sad turn of events is that her father ended up taking his own life by jumping off of a garage near LAX. And that was very unexpected and shocking, and people don't really know why he did that. Maybe he felt hopeless because he was looking like day and night for his daughter, including on Skid Row. Nobody really knows. Then it came out that she actually intentionally missed her flight to LAX, and she's she's involved in a marriage scam. Her and her boyfriend both married people from different countries. Like, she married someone from Argentina in hopes of getting paid, but allegedly the payment didn't go through, and it's all this weird stuff. But now they said, our police chief, LAPD, said they have footage of her crossing the border in San Isidro to Mexico voluntarily. She purchased a ticket at Union Station to go to Mexico. So basically she's like a voluntarily missing person at this point. Like, they saying that she's not in any danger or held against her will. So it's just bananas right now.
The only thing I read about it is that they were fighting over the GoFundMe money, that the family was beefing, the aunts and cousins, over who controls the GoFundMe money and what they are going to do with it.
See, another detail. It's like every week with this thing. It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to watching the movie on Lifetime.
Yeah, it sounds like a Lifetime movie already.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dwight calling us from Compton. Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning, Dominique and Sherri. Thank you so much for all you guys are doing. Hotep, Jumbo, to all the KBLA listeners out there. And I just want to thank you, Dominique, because sometimes we think you're not a robot, you're a human being. And thank you for all the things you do to keep us informed on the elections and the judges. And even though, we may have lost a battle, but we haven't lost the war. And we know the kind of country we live in. Sometimes we forget. But since 1619, how did we get here? So we know that racism exists in our country, and sometimes we forget or it slips to the back of our memory. But sometimes when you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis of what's wrong, you just know what to work on. Even with you and your diabetes, you said you can't eat certain things and you got to exercise. America is a racist country, and we just have to deal with racism while we're here. We do our part. We keep fighting. And democracy is not something that's in line. It's something that we work on every day, every election, every vote. Mm-hmm. And thank you so much for being a voice for our community, Sherri and Dominique, because we're going to need you to get through these little hard times. And in every battle, you're going to have wins and losses. So,
Mm-hmm.
we just realize what we got to battle. We're in a battle, and it's a continuous battle. Thank you, Dominique, because you have families, you have things you have to deal with, too, on the personal level, where we tend to forget you guys sometimes and think you guys are robots, and you're not. And I just want to say thank you from me, and I'm sure most of the community thanks each and every one of you and all the things you guys do. And KBLA is doing to uplift our community every day. We thank you so much, Dominique.
Well, thank you, Dwight. You've been one of our day ones around here. And we're definitely not robots. No, we're not AI.
Right.
So I guess we can't get a job at the LA Times deciding what stories are biased and what stories are not. You brought that story to my attention. I wasn't tracking it. That is crazy. So you're going to let a biased algorithm decide what articles, which we know is biased,
right?
Because of the white, people that put it together, and it's showed up,
right,
in multiple ways that it's been tested. So now they're doing what?
Right. So I want to say thank you, Dwight, because we need that encouragement. We can't give up. We're not going to give up. So appreciate you. So nowadays we living in crazy times, right? Where people trying to tell us discrimination doesn't exist, or it's discriminatory to address discrimination, right? And now we're having this local issue with the LA Times, with the owner of the newspaper, attempting to implement an AI program that will actually measure the bias of the content of the articles that are written by their staff, of LA Times staff. And so basically you have, like you said, a biased, weird AI software who knows what programming went into it, telling the readers, hey, this article that you're about to read has a bias level of whatever. And so the staff pushed back. Like, wait a second, hold up. Are you trying to insinuate that we are biased with no examples of what bias is, right? So it's very, I think it's very, how can I say this? The intent behind it is a little nefarious and misleading, and I feel like it's a little bit of propaganda-y, for the
little bit,
right? Like you are actually trying to actually control the narrative of every single thing that your newspaper puts out, even though you're not writing it.
This actually may make me cancel my subscription. Finally, I feel like I need to read the LA Times because it's my job to know, but. Now you're going to let AI decide what's right and wrong? What happens if it hallucinates? Okay, we got news, traffic, and sports. Speaking of bias, we'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. Northern California may feel aftershocks after an earthquake hit offshore near the California-Oregon state line. The quake prompted a tsunami warning, which has since expired. Investigators have released clear images of the suspect in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Mayor Eric Adams expects an arrest soon. Lawmakers are questioning the Secret Service about the July 13th assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. One person was killed and Trump and 2 others were wounded. Acting Director Ronald Rose stated that disciplinary actions are ongoing. And a new study in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry links lead in gasoline to mental health disorders. It examined blood lead levels in children from 1940 to 2015, finding 151 million excess mental health disorders due to lead exposure from car exhaust. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, owner at Blindster.com. And right now, we're offering up to 50% off all our custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters during our Cyber Week sale. Don't miss out on some incredible deals. But hurry, sale ends December 10th. Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There's a good chance today we will learn a lot about the Lakers and what type of season they will have. We also might learn that first-time coach J.J. Redick is in over his head trying to coach the Lakers without any previous coaching experience. The Lakers are in Atlanta today to wrap up a 4-game road trip. A lot of folks will be tuning in to see if the Lakers have the mental toughness to overcome back-to-back blowout losses magnified by a 41-point rout at Miami Wednesday night. After the Miami loss, Redick said his players did not play with intensity and lacked professionalism. Those 2 intangibles need to be seen today. Otherwise, the haters who couldn't believe Redick got the job in the first place will start making noise again. Part of Redick's job description as an NBA head coach is to make sure his players play with intensity and professionalism. It's time for Redick to make that happen. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. The Equinox EV and all-new Equinox, America's best compact SUV for new vehicle quality by J.D. Power, offer both confidence and style to see you through the holiday season. It's easy to see why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Award based on 2024 models. For J.D. Power 2024 U.S. Industrial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment is 26.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/2/25.
An official message from Medicare. Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money. Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Man, there's a lot to cover. Okay, so the tips for Tsunami, because I said I was going to say it. It says get to higher ground. It also says drop to the ground and hold on to something, because now we're not supposed to be under doorways. So I guess you get under something, hold on till the shaking stops, and then if you hear a tsunami warning, or if you're in a tsunami area, which is pretty much most of the beaches, then you're supposed to get to higher ground. But they don't want you to get in your car. So put on your sneakers and run up a mountain is pretty much what they're saying.
Man, I guess you got to get in where you fit in.
Yeah, or get in your copter. To the LA Times, the follow-up on that, I mean, they're saying it's starting in January. They're going to have the AI judging the people's articles. Everyone is biased. Every single person, we can only see the world through our own eyes. But to me, the fact that AI does this thing called hallucinating, which means it doesn't know a thing, so it just makes up the answer.
Oh, whoa.
It's one of the biggest problems with AI. If there's a gap in its knowledge, it just makes something up. So if you don't check and double check, then you're going to look stupid. And the LA Times could be basing their bias assessment on something that's not even real.
So number one, who asked for this? Right.
Great point.
And number two, you're creating more misinformation probably with this bias meter by saying things is biased and dissuading people from reading something that could be factual. I don't know. It's not a good look, and nobody asks for it. And if people want to know if something biased, let them download an app on their own and figure it out. Like, I don't need your app or your technology telling me what I'm reading is biased. If you don't know me, you don't know what I've been through, you don't know my perspective and vantage point in this world.
I mean, it's also kind of saying, like, we don't have responsibility to learn media literacy and how to discern bias for ourselves. We're just supposed to rely on AI and not use our brains.
I was about to say, we don't have a brain anymore.
No, Starving Myself to Life says, is LA Times the pilot, or has this been in effect for years now? No, actually, the LA Times owner said he's been secretly developing this behind the scenes, and he's implementing it in January. Jacqueline Anderson says, your shirt says native, but there's also LA. You have to look beneath Sherri's long, luxurious hair to see the little L over that A. So it's LA native. And Molly Bell comments that one columnist just resigned. Now, how many more can resign? A whole bunch of people resigned over that Kamala Harris controversy.
You're going to get the Fox News correspondents up in there. They're going to take all them seats. Then we really going to be watching Fox News in on our paper in the LA Times.
Well, look, Starving Myself to Life also talks about Neuralink, which is one of Elon Musk's companies. And I do talk about this because he wants to put a chip in your brain.
Sounds
like
crazy.
Having Google installed in your brain. But you don't know what he put in that chip. Oh my God. It could make you vote for Donald Trump. It could make you act stupid.
Yeah.
It could make you, an idiot. Who knows? That's why I was speculating he might already have one in J.D. Vance's brain.
Oh, where is he anyway? I haven't seen this man since the election. I don't know where. He ain't man. I don't know.
He's at the Neuralink lab getting an update on his chip, so he can be the remote control vice president. I don't know where he is.
I don't know either. They probably gonna replace him before January.
But if you think about the bias in these search engines, why would you let Elon Musk put a chip in your brain?
They trust him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and good luck with that.
Right.
Because if it goes like anything like the Tesla self-driving car, your brain will explode.
Man,
just saying.
Do your research, people.
Okay, so the other story that I haven't talked about, although it merits talk, is this CEO, Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. He was gunned down in New York, just walking down the street. I guess the guy was laying in wait for him. And he died. He's 50-year-old guy from Minnesota. He's, family man, whatever. But there's a lot of conversation on social media about this. And there's also a lot of conversation in corporate America. So from what I'm reading, these big companies are beefing up their security on CEOs right now, everywhere. Like conferences, their individual, and I think it was the New York Times that was saying, CEOs, everyone, there's always someone that hates the CEO. They have to lay people off. They have rivalries with other companies. But for me, and I'm not justifying the murder of this guy, but for me, it's not just that everyone hates CEOs. It's that the gap between CEO pay and worker pay and the poverty in this country is making CEOs more hated than they've been at any other time. And if you look at the trajectory of human history, when the gap between rich and poor gets too wide, societies do not survive that.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah, well, this story has Dateline written all over it, and we're going to hear more about this as we go on, because at first, we didn't even have to wait long to learn that it was an intentional hit, right, and there's bullets with words written on them, and there's like aside from the murder and the search for the suspect, there's a lot of talk about how these mega, health insurance companies are basically their greed is costing people their lives, right? On what they choose to approve for care, what treatment they approve. And so that is another reason why people are very angry with these healthcare corporations reaping massive amounts of profit, and not doing a great job at having empathy or care for people who are lower income or with health risks. They're denying them much needed care when they don't have to. So it does create a lot of animosity. I think it was that movie John Q with Denzel Washington's son couldn't get the health. It was a movie like that. It's like people, they're basically
I remember the movie. I can't remember the name of it.
They're allowing people to die.
Right. And that's why people on social media and some people are celebrating that guy's murder, even though I don't think we should be celebrating anyone's murder. Mm-hmm. But what there's is exactly what you're saying, is that healthcare companies, health insurance companies specifically, don't cover healthcare. Mm-hmm. In fact, those bullets were emblazoned with the words "deny, defend, and depose," which is actually the name of a book about how health insurance companies avoid paying. And I mean, it speaks to a crisis in our country, which is we need Medicare for all. It's not rocket science.
Right. And I think this murder is definitely going to shake up conversations in the healthcare community, and hopefully it's a pathway for health insurance reform activists and advocates to have a seat at the table and really thinking about transformative change. Because not only there's one part of they want to beef up security for CEOs to prevent something like this from happening, because it was told his wife said he was getting threats before he was killed. The conditions that are creating these motives for murder hopefully will create a pathway for them to be reformed and addressed. Hopefully.
It's interesting that Anthem Blue Cross is now, and they were already talking about that, but they've decided to reverse a policy where they were only going to insure anesthesia for a certain amount of time. So you could be in the middle of an operation. If it took too long, they were no longer going to cover the anesthetic.
Wow.
So does that mean your chest cavity is open getting heart surgery and they just pulled a plug on your anesthetics because the company won't pay for it? The insurance company won't pay for it. They've backtracked on that policy.
Wow.
And it's certainly starting some conversations. What I didn't really like was that people are saying, so the way we get change is to scare the crap out of the rich. Well, I mean, if by murdering them you mean, if scare the crap out of them means organizing, and causing uncomfortable conversations and voting people out of office and voting for people who would put in Medicare for all, then good. Right. If it means going around ambushing people and murdering them, then no.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this was an extreme measure that somebody took that is causing attention to it, but it's definitely not the solution to the larger problem. You just can't go around assassinating, the CEOs of all these health insurance companies. But definitely, you can't let status quo be status quo. So, yeah.
Is that white on white crime?
You know what? I think it's just crime, and I think all crime is crime.
Right,
that narrative is like
that's where I was going.
Yeah,
with that.
I know. We the only ones to get that rap, right? Like when everybody kill everybody at the same level, but when black people do it, it's black on black crime, right?
Exactly.
Or when corporations get tax cuts, they're not getting welfare. We the welfare recipients,
Right.
So it's like all the narrative and spin.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue this conversation. We will take your phone calls when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at WalkGoodLA. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Oh, my goodness. All of these stories are like Lifetime movies. So apparently this guy, the CEO, was accused of insider trading. And there was a Department of Justice probe going on. He was going to be facing a lawsuit saying that he and other executives were insider trading.
Wow. There are so many motives, so many different motives, internal, external, and eventually I think the truth is going to come out. We'll see.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's just, yeah, okay. Well, we got a lot of other stories to get to, but I want to get to the phones.
So we're going to see what's up with Paul. Paul, how you doing, Paul? Let's hear from you. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Queens. Good morning, Queens. Great conversation. I'm actually happy you two are discussing it. How you two doing?
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of President Lyndon B. Johnson's comment because it's really relevant to what, in my opinion, is going on today. I think that we're living in a class war, basically, right? In regards to resources, in regards to how we live, in regards to who gets taxed and who does not get taxed. Lyndon B., for those that don't know, his quote was, "If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, he'll give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you." And why I think that's really relevant right now is because when you talk wealth, right, look at each person that's being put on each cabinet. I've sent you a couple of articles also recently Dominique, to see who he's appointed. Those were people that he's gone to and said, no problem. Those are people that directly he went to and said, give me money and I will give you what you want, which they wanted their hands on the tax code. And if they're not paying taxes, who do you think the tax burden is going on? If they're not, if they don't believe in, well, we're not going to tax us, we're going to slash what we deem our entitlement programs, your Social Security, your health care. Now they're going to focus on with Obamacare, which is really the Affordable Care Act, but people can't seem to separate those two. And they're going to reform that, which in turn is going to directly impact my people overall, because now they're going to determine who gets health care or not. And I think that's really sad, because there was also a report that Elon Musk basically himself financed $250 million on Donald Trump's campaign.
Yeah, 250 million, close to. I think it was 220 something, but yeah, it's insane. And the crazy thing about that is it's not even a blip on his radar. He's the richest man in the world, so he can buy America at a discount price.
Apartheid. They've brought apartheid here, and I think what's really even worse about it is, and this is why I don't like either party. Right, I'm more independent. I tend to vote a certain way because I separate the names and I look at the policies that you're running on. The policies that Kamala Harris was running on literally was going to be transformative, because I have personally dealt with myself taking care of an aging parent and how expensive that is. Right, and it makes it hard for you to live. That was something that was going to be tangible to my community. Right, or
policy over party. Well, that's what we've been talking about. Policy over. I mean, look. If we can build up a third party that really has, a chance, I could definitely see going into a third party. I mean, I feel like I'm the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and all they do is pimp us. They take certain ones of our policies, they halfway implement it, and then they run to the right. Like right now, everybody's going, oh, well, we're too woke. That's losing us election. No, you're too down with Liz Cheney. Come over here. Yeah. Come to where the food is, to the progressive wing of your party, before the progressive wing of your party takes a walk.
Right.
And I think at this point, let's just call a spade what it is, because I'm reading and I'm waiting on the Pew report to come out so we can get the real hard numbers of what transpired this past election. But we have an idea of what happened. But most people don't know. Over $1 billion was raised for the Kamala Harris campaign, but that money didn't make its way towards black media. And why did that happen? Because those consultants, those same white consultants, got their hand on their campaign and said, don't go against corporations. Stop talking about the most popular things that your base is asking for. See, it's not about the voters. What happens is that this has essentially become like a contractor Ponzi war, a donor, lobbyist, and that's what makes the Citizen United decision that SCOTUS did so devastating. It's because it's taking the power out of the voters. And it's given the power towards the lobbyists and the most wealthy. And that's why they make money. Jennifer O'Malley, who was who took over Kamala Harris's campaign, basically had her own ad agency. So how is that not a conflict of interest, that you're basically you're cycling money to yourself?
I mean, to be fair, they did spend some money on KBLA. Oh. Okay. They didn't pay me. They didn't buy off Tavis, but they did buy some ads, which we were thankful for.
We're talking billions, Dominique.
Yeah,
that's a small percentage.
And it's a great point, because most of the time these mainstream Democratic campaigns ignore black media. They take us for granted. They assume they have our votes.
Yep.
So it's a great point. Some really excellent conversation in the chat. If you guys want to tap in, it's KBLA 1580 on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, this begs the question about the Democratic Party as a whole, whether it's nationwide, locally, needs to step it up and be more courageous and stand on the rights of their the people who, are registered with the Democratic Party, like, people of color, black, brown, poor, like really stand on business when representing our interests at the state capitol or, at the national level. It is that when it comes to doing and affecting real change, there is a lack of courage to just and to remain a status quo. And so that is going to basically probably cause the party to implode at some point. And that's why I think a lot of younger people, I guess when you get those Pew numbers, you might see that a lot of young voters sat it out this time around, probably because of, a lot of the things that
I think it's Gaza.
Yeah, a lot of people sat out because of that, but that is probably been orchestrated in cahoots with, the the Republican Party and Russia to like hold off on resolving this Gaza issue, which is disgusting.
Gaza's just one, and Molly Bell's right. There's a lot of cheating. She said thieves in the temple, but if the Democratic Party does not lean into the progressive wing of the party, if the Democratic Party does not, as you said, Sherri, make bolder policy moves, they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose a lot of people. You can't, the Summer Lees, the AOCs, the Ayanna Presleys, the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars. You can't just keep taking their ideas and then, nerfing them,
right.
making them, watering them down, and then, running to the right every time you think it's election time.
Right. Because, that side doesn't do it. That side doesn't play by the rules. That side doesn't whimper or have any issues. But
they whimper.
But I think
Donald Trump whimpers. Anyway.
Yeah, but I think what's going to happen is, number one, these elected officials, they're going to be working hard. Us as constituents are going to get our money's worth. Because they're going to have to be doing a lot of fighting because Trump is going to have these weirdo cast of characters in office trying to overthrow, entire government agencies and just do a lot of evil policy implementation. And they're going to, I think both parties are going to have to they're going to really be working these next 4 years because they're going to have to stand up against it. I'm not convinced that all Republicans are down with all of these massive overhaul ideas that this administration is going to try to implement. I think that we're going to see a real battle of morality and, both at the grassroots level and at the political level.
I hope you're right. Sherri Bell can be found on Instagram at Sherri De La Ghetto. You got to put some underscores in there.
Yep. And it's really good, to be with y'all this morning. And hopefully we stay encouraged and stay aware and keep doing the work.
Absolutely. Freedman Friday is up next. We're talking reparations. It's on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Northern California may feel aftershocks after an earthquake hit offshore near the California-Oregon state line. The quake prompted a tsunami warning, which has since expired. Investigators have released clear images of the suspect in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Mayor Eric Adams expects an arrest soon. Lawmakers are questioning psychiatry links lead in gasoline to mental health disorders. It examined blood lead levels in children from